Hello and welcome to Beau Hannam Guitars and Ukuleles. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a thumbnail for YouTube videos. Now my audience is primarily for luthiers, guitar makers, repairers, woodworkers, all that. But this can be put use to any field. So this is my YouTube video, and these are the thumbnails that I usually do. Pretty simple, not very snazzy. You know, I don't use zany fonts and all that kind of thing. But I tend to try and replicate a color in the font that's in the picture. So in this font or the wording is gold, and happens to be a gold uke. Purple writing, and there's purple purfling here. Burl veneers, and that writing there is the same color as this headstock. So you get the idea. So I'm going to be using Canva, which is free, therefore I like it best. There's another one over here called Snapper. You can only do 3 free images or downloads from this, so it's pretty limiting. The one thing that I did find helpful with Snapper was the YouTube channel art, which is this part up here with the eyes and the writing. I'm trying to figure that out yourself without the template that Snapper has on here. It's kind of difficult, so they're good for that. But for what we're going to do, Canva is excellent. So I'll show you how to start from scratch, and then I'll show you all of my designs, which are here. But you just sign up for free, and then you just go to create design and custom dimensions. And so for YouTube thumbnail, you want to type in 1920 by 1080, create new design. And then of course you need some pictures to upload. So that is your blank canvas. Depending on what your look is, you can start with any background color that you want. So if you want to start with a purple background, good for you. I start with a black one. And then we go over to uploads. Then I've got a couple of pictures here which I will be using. If you don't have any pictures in here, you just go to uploaded image, and then find the folder where it's at, and then it uploads. So you just drag this over, and I'm not sure which picture I'm going to use yet, but I'll describe all my thinking for that. So these are the 3 pictures that I'm interested in. I have another one here. But it's not as nice as this one. So this one and this one are similar, but this one describes what I want to show better than this one, which is kind of overexposed. So what the video that this thumbnail is going to be about is, I had this guitar brought in by a customer, and I added this bevel. So I have to figure out which pictures or picture is best to use and where to place them. So placement of pictures I find to be better in the right hand side, because with thumbnails you've got the timestamp here and also like the subscribe button sometimes, so I don't like my I prefer the picture to get interrupted by the timestamp here rather than any wording. So you can manipulate the picture any way you want. You can stretch it out this way, you can crop it down to where you would prefer it to be. You can also rotate it with this, which is tempting. So obviously I'm concentrating on the white guitar, the maple guitar. So that's a good image, but the trouble with it is, for me, it shows the end result and it's not punchy enough. So just in regard to cropping, I don't need any of this part and I don't need the upper bout of this guitar, so that can go there. But I really don't need this guitar. And I do like this picture because it does show the before, and I think a before and after shot would be best on this thumbnail. This is a good picture, however it's not like, it's kind of two-dimensional. You can't see what this is, and this part here is what I did. This part shows, or this picture shows much better the beauty and the dynamics of the curve and woodworking. Much better than that. That just looks like a black, kind of like it was dipped in paint. So I'm actually not going to use this, even though it's a more impressive picture. Just, if the thumbnail was going to be, two good looking guitars, I'd choose this one, but this thumbnail is for a tutorial on how I got from this to that. What would, in hindsight, what would have been best is to have a picture between this one and this one. So kind of this picture looking like if the camera was at the same angle but looking down, or if the camera was about 6 to 12 inches higher, that would have been a good picture. Or if this one was, at the same angle. But I didn't think ahead. So let's get rid of this picture. Just, you can either right click and delete, or just drag it into no man's land. So we'll place this where it needs to be. So I don't really need any of this part, but the more the merrier. We'll figure that out when we get to the text. For this, I certainly don't need any of this, but I do want to keep the guitar parts that help you identify it as a guitar, which is the bridge and the gold knob here. But above that, it's kind of got this tripod in the way, and so we'll take it down to there at least for now. Then take this over, get rid of the carpet or the towel, and then let's put that there. I'm going to probably leave this staggered a little bit, just so there's some definition between the two pictures. I could also do that, I suppose. We'll do that for now. Okay, so to the text, just go to text, add a heading, and then voila. so you can just select it all. There's a series of many fonts. I use the same font, which is Arable Fat Face, which, you know, it just works well. So drag that over. Change the font size to, I start off with 120, and 120 is what this looks like. So it's a good readable size, I find. Okay, now we have to name the thumbnail. Did I name the video yet? Yeah. How to add an arm bevel to thin line electric guitar. Let's start with that and just see where we are. I'm just going to say a, not an, arm bevel. Either are grammatically correct, but an uses one more letter and it's just a bit wider, so try and stick to keeping in here. Okay, add a space in here. Okay, the spacing has come out good. If it didn't, just select all and then go to this up here, spacing, and then line height, and that you can jiggle the text to your heart's content, and also you can get the letters really close or far apart. Just depends on how much, you know, the area that you've got to work with. But as it turns out, it's good the way it is, so it's good. I'm just going to change the font now. So I talked about, I like to associate the font color with something in the picture. So Allied Luthier here is that red, and the other lighter areas were the Allied Luthier text. So for this one, I think something simple like that is going to work fine. Let's see what happens when we choose one of these. I'm a bit scared, actually. Oh, okay, there. Yeah, not sure that'll look good on. So, delete. So you've got all these things here, which, you know, if you, like I mentioned, you can get zany. But there's a lot of cool texts and different things in there. Just depends what sort of channel you've got. Anyway, so I'm going to highlight a couple of things in this text, which is arm bevel, which is, you know, the most important kind of thing. So So, you know, I can choose an inappropriate color like that. That looks horrible. But I think just a white is going to look good. And then thin line guitar. And that just makes it a bit punchier. I could even make guitar that color to make it a bit more. It's a little bit I think I prefer the guitar to be in white. So I think that's the text done for this particular thumbnail. So what we have now is these pictures. So if you click on the picture, go to adjust, go to blur, and just pay attention to the picture here, top picture. If I go to the right, it blurs it. If I go to the left, it does the opposite. It's like a contrast sharpening mechanism. So go back to 0. So about 40. Looks good to me. Saturation is the colors, so you can go black and white, or you know, super saturated with color. Just add a little bit of contrast. So remember that, so that to me looks grainy and horrible, but once it's at this size, that's tiny. It's like, you know, an inch on my big screen. So you have to think in regard to that. And if it's a dark picture, you can brighten it up with the brightness. So I'm on the bottom picture now. That doesn't really need to be bright. Bit of contrast, bit of saturation. Give it, sharpen it up a bit with the blur. I usually like vignette. Might actually do it on this one. I'll do that on this one too. So that's that. The other thing that I sometimes use is elements over here, which is you can get some shapes. So I'll just show you how I sometimes use them. So obviously I'm not going to use that colored shape, but if I do black, then I can use that to mask, you know, that little part or something like that. It doesn't need that, so I'm not going to use it, but that is just another element. One other thing is the position. So you can see that that's over everything now, over the text and over the pictures. If you go to position and go backwards, then that's behind the text but in front of the pictures. And one more time, it's behind that picture, which was the second picture we moved over. And then backward is, it's behind everything. So I'm just going to bring that forward again, just so I can delete it. And so, you know, if you move this over, that's behind, but if you wanted it in front, then you could put it in front of the pictures, but we don't want that. So they're the only elements that I really use, I think. for my non-zany thumbnails. Just add, leave a little bit of space between the top and bottom. But apart from that, I think we're done for this particular one. That's just a good, straightforward, simple thumbnail that's going to get the message across. It's obvious that this hasn't got anything done to it, or it doesn't have a bevel, and then this picture shows the dynamics of what I did. So if you go to, once you've finished, you go to download, download again. PNG, something that seems to be too big for YouTube most of the time, so I just use a JPEG. Download, and then I'll show you how to upload it to YouTube while I'm at it. So I'm in Safari, so this there's the on Mac, it on Google, Google Chrome, it pops up in a different way. It says, do you want to save this, and you just save it to your location. This is already saved, so I'll just go up to I'll save, and then move to, and then so YouTube videos, and then inside that folder is carbon bevel. Okay, so that's saved. We just go to the YouTube channel. This is the video that we'll be putting the thumbnail to. Let's click on that, then edit video. Then upload thumbnail. YouTube videos, carbon bevel. And that's the one. Choose. And there we have it. How to add an arm bevel to a thin line guitar. Save. Boom. Done. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to appear, a couple of hours. Sometimes not quite sure what the deal is with that. Let's see if it was instantaneous. It was. Okay, so that's yeah, I'm pleased with that. As you can see, it's small, but one picture just didn't describe what I wanted to. So the other thing that I'll show you, so that's what we just did. If you go to, so once you've done one from scratch, you can go to all your designs and just pretend that that is, looks like it's, doesn't matter. So just say this is the one you just did. You want to save, or you want to replicate, you know, the picture on this side and the text and the font size and all that. You just go make a copy. once you've done that, you can just say, rename it. And then you can click on that new copy, and then you can edit it. And so we can see same font, a little bit larger. I had less text, so if I've just got, the text size depends on how much text and how long the text is. So if I've just got this much, I could blow that out to 200. And then if I, just keep scaling it down until it fits in. So that's about all I use and all I have to tell you. That will pop up in a sec. But I usually use this format, just picture on the side, because the timestamp's here, and then text on this side. Sometimes I do this. There's that dual kind of before and after picture with some text up the top. Here's another one of that type. But as you can see, I mostly stick to the same thing. This picture I used Photoshop, and I darkened all this area, so it's sort of the darkness bled into the blackness of this background. Yeah, and you can just change individual letters like this. So I did that picture, that orange app on my phone, and then uploaded it to the computer. But you can do that in Photoshop. Yeah, so I hope that was of help. Just take a look at other people's thumbnails and see if you like it. So something like this, I think this is an old one. Too much writing. The picture is kind of weird. You can't really tell this is a hand bender. That is much less obvious than that. Or this, or that. I think a few times I may have deleted them. I've used little arrows. I think I deleted them. Doesn't matter. But you can use elements to highlight something. There's all these different things you can pop into. So look through them, go crazy. So I hope that was of help.